The architecture of a theme park is not accidental. It is psychological engineering. When you walk down Main Street, something feels larger than life, but you don't immediately know why. The windows on the upper floors are smaller than the ones below, a trick called forced perspective. It makes buildings feel taller, grander, almost unreal. Even the air is controlled. Hidden vents release the scent of vanilla, triggering nostalgia deep in the brain. Familiarity, comfort, safety. Every sight, every sound, every smell is carefully designed to pull you into a carefully constructed illusion, a bubble where the outside world fades away. But the most powerful illusion these parks create is not the fireworks, or the music, or the animatronics. It is the illusion that nothing bad can ever happen there. Because behind the smiling mascots and colorful walls lies a very different reality. These parks are not fairylands. They are industrial zones, vast networks of high-voltage systems, hydraulic machinery, moving steel, and complex mechanisms operating with relentless precision. And in a place visited by millions every year, the probability of tragedy is never zero. The difference is what happens afterwards. When tragedy strikes in the happiest place on earth, it is not only cleaned up, it is erased, removed from sight, removed from memory, removed from the story. To understand this, we have to go back to the summer of 1974. A new attraction had just opened. It was called America Sings. For its time, it was revolutionary, a rotating theater where the audience sat in a circular room that slowly moved from stage to stage while animatronic animals performed musical numbers. The transition was seamless, elegant, almost hypnotic. But beneath that smooth performance, enormous motors and gears were silently moving hundreds of tons of steel and concrete. And in that machinery, there was almost no margin for error. Deborah Stone was 18 years old. She had just graduated from high school and was preparing to begin college. Like many local teenagers, she took a summer job at the park. Her role was simple. She welcomed guests. She smiled. She spoke into a microphone. She helped create the illusion of magic. On July 8th, 1974, she was working the closing shift. It was late. The show was running. The rotating walls were moving as designed. And then, in the brief moment between acts, Deborah stepped too close to a narrow gap between a moving wall and a stationary stage. There were no sensors, no automatic stops. The machinery didn't hesitate. It didn't recognize the difference between steel and a human body. It pulled her into the darkness. And what makes this moment so disturbing is what happened next. The ride did not stop. The music did not stop. The audience heard a scream, but surrounded by artificial characters and staged drama, many believed it was part of the show. They sat in their seats, listening, unaware that only a few feet away, something real, something irreversible was happening in the dark. Only later, when debris was noticed and alarms were raised, did the truth emerge. By the time the machinery was stopped and the walls were separated, Deborah Stone was gone. The attraction closed briefly. Modifications were made. Sensors were installed. And then the music started again. The lights came back on. The show continued, as if nothing had happened. But the illusion had already cracked. And sometimes the threat does not come from machinery. Sometimes it comes from nature itself. Fast forward to June 2016, a luxury resort, a warm evening. Families gathered on a beach for an outdoor movie. Everything felt calm, safe, perfect. A young boy named Lane was playing at the water's edge, wading in shallow water no deeper than a foot. There were signs that said no swimming, but nothing that suggested danger like the one that was about to emerge. Because beneath the surface, something was already watching. At around 9 p.m., the water broke. An alligator, nearly 7 feet long, surged forward with terrifying speed and seized the child. There was no warning, No time to react. His father lunged into the water, fighting desperately, trying to pry open jaws designed by millions of years to never let go. Witnesses described chaos erupting in the middle of an otherwise peaceful scene, a movie still playing in the background, soft music in the air, and in the water, a father fighting a battle he could not win. Moments later, the animal vanished into the darkness. The search lasted 16 hours. Divers moved slowly across the lagoon floor, and eventually, they found the child's body, not far from where he had been taken. The aftermath revealed something unsettling. Alligators were not rare in the area. They were known. They were managed, but never fully controlled. The illusion of safety had never truly existed, and when it shattered, the reality beneath it was cold and unforgiving. Barriers were built. Warning signs appeared. Policies changed. But for those who had seen what happened, the spell was gone forever. And then there are the stories that are rarely spoken about at all. Stories about procedures, about image control, about the quiet management of death itself. There has long been a persistent belief that no one is officially declared dead on park property. While never formally confirmed, accounts from responders and employees suggest a pattern. Medical treatment continues until the patient is transported off-site, where the official pronouncement is made. A subtle difference in wording, but in public perception, a powerful one, because headlines shape memory, and memory shapes reality. In 2003, another incident exposed the darker side of operational pressure. A roller coaster derailed inside a tunnel after a mechanical failure caused by maintenance issues. The investigation later revealed understaffing, overwork, and a system that prioritized operation over precaution. Calculation. Risk weighed against profit. The ride was repaired, procedures were updated, and eventually it reopened. Guests returned, the line formed again, and the past faded into silence. Today, when people walk through these parks, they walk across invisible scars, places where laughter once mixed with screams that were not part of the show, places where the machinery did not stop in time, places where illusion and reality collided, and reality won. The parks do not haunt visitors with ghosts. They haunt with something far more unsettling, the realization that tragedy can be erased so completely that only fragments remain. And the next time you visit a place designed to feel perfect, watch carefully. Watch how quickly a spill is cleaned, how fast a problem disappears, how smoothly the music resumes. Because in a world built on illusion, imperfection is the one thing that cannot be allowed to linger. And sometimes, that imperfection is a human life.